Ever been stuck with a landlord from hell? I'm talking about the kind who sees you not as a person, but as a walking, talking ATM. Well, I had one of those, and let me tell you, the story of how I got my revenge is one for the books. It all started when I moved into what I thought was the perfect apartment. Great location, decent rent, seemed like a dream. My landlord, let's call him Mr. Smith, was all smiles and handshakes at first. He seemed like a decent guy. Oh, how wrong I was. The charm offensive lasted exactly until the ink on the lease was dry. The first red flag? The heating broke in the middle of a brutal winter. I called him, I texted him, I emailed him. For a week, nothing but radio silence. When he finally answered, he grumbled that it was probably my fault and that I'd have to wait for his guy to come take a look. His guy never materialized. I ended up spending a small fortune on space heaters and wearing my winter coat indoors. Next up was the leaky faucet in the bathroom. It started as a drip, 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 and soon became a constant stream. My water bill shot through the roof. Again, I contacted Mr. Smith. This time he actually replied saying he'd get it fixed. A month later, the drip was still my constant companion. I ended up watching a YouTube tutorial and fixing it myself, sending him the receipt for the parts. Did I get reimbursed? Of course not. He claimed it was an unauthorized repair. The list went on. A broken window latch that made my ground floor apartment feel like an open invitation to burglars. A mysterious mold problem in the closet that he dismissed as just a little dampness. Every single request for a basic repair was met with either silence, excuses, or outright blame. It became clear that Mr. Smith's business model was simple: collect rent, do nothing. The final straw came when my lease was up for renewal. He informed me he was raising the rent by a whopping 30%. 30! For a place with faulty heating, a history of leaks, and a landlord who treated the Geneva Conventions as a list of suggestions. His justification? Market rates. I knew this was just pure greed. He figured I wouldn't want the hassle of moving, so I just roll over and pay up. That's when a switch flipped. I wasn't just going to move out quietly. No, Mr. Smith had underestimated me. I decided it was time for a little lesson in tenants' rights and karma. My revenge wouldn't be petty or illegal. It would be strategic, thorough, and completely by the book. Phase 1 was documentation. I went back through all my emails, texts, and photos. I documented every single ignored repair request, every dismissive response, every receipt for things I had to fix myself. I took detailed, high-resolution photos of the mold, the broken window latch, and the water damage stain on the ceiling from a leak in the unit above that he also ignored. I created a timeline, a meticulous record of his negligence. Phase 2 was research. I spent hours online diving deep into local housing laws and tenant rights. I learned about the implied warranty of habitability, a legal principle that requires landlords to provide a safe and livable space. My apartment, with its broken heating and mold, was a clear violation. I also discovered the process for reporting a landlord to the city's housing authority and filing a claim in small claims court. Knowledge was my new weapon. Phase 3 was communication. I drafted a formal registered letter to Mr. Smith. It was polite but firm. In it, I detailed every single issue, citing the specific housing codes he was violating. I attached copies of my documentation and photos. I stated that if the issues were not rectified within 14 days, as required by law, I would be exercising my right to repair and deduct, fixing the problems myself and deducting the cost from my rent. I also mentioned my intention to report him to the housing authority. The change in his attitude was immediate. The guy who couldn't be bothered to answer a text was suddenly blowing up my phone. He accused me of threatening him. I calmly explained that I was simply informing him of my legal rights and his legal obligations. The panic in his voice was music to my ears. Suddenly his guy was a real person. A team of actual professional repairmen showed up the next day. They fixed the heating. They replaced the entire faucet. They professionally remediated the mold and even repainted the closet. They installed a brand new secure window latch. It was amazing what the threat of legal action could accomplish. But I wasn't done yet. This was about more than just getting my apartment fixed. It was about holding him accountable. I still reported him to the housing authority. An inspector came out and, surprise, surprise, found a list of violations not just in my unit, but throughout the building. He got hit with a series of fines that I am sure were far more expensive than just fixing the issues in the first place. And the rent increase, I contested it. I presented my case, along with my mountain of evidence, to the tenancy board. I showed them that he was trying to impose a retaliatory rent hike after I had requested basic repairs. The board sided with me. They not only denied his 30% increase, but they also ruled that he couldn't raise my rent at all for the next year. The best part? My neighbors noticed. They saw the repair trucks. They saw the city inspector. They started asking questions. I shared my story and my research. Soon, a tenants association was formed. We collectively started demanding the repairs and maintenance we were all entitled to. Mr. Smith's days of easy, lazy money were over. He was forced to actually be a landlord. When my lease was finally up a year later, I moved out. On my way out, I passed Mr. Smith, who was overseeing yet another repair, looking stressed and miserable. He wouldn't even make eye contact. I didn't say a word. I just smiled. It wasn't a mean smile, just a satisfied one. I hadn't destroyed his property or done anything illegal. I had simply used the system to make him do his job. My revenge was forcing him to be accountable. The moral of the story is this: don't let a bad landlord walk all over you. Know your rights. Document everything. And don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. It might take some effort, but holding people like Mr. Smith accountable is not just satisfying, it helps everyone else who comes after you. Thanks so much for watching my story. If you've ever had a landlord nightmare, drop a comment below. I love to hear about it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.